Of all the things on my 2025 ASKA bingo card, setting sail on the open seas in my very own longship, fighting whale slugs, and then plundering distant islands for their unique resources certainly wasn't on it. Nor was this guy, or those guys, or this thing, or indeed even those things. So here is everything you need to know about ASKA'S biggest update yet, Seaborne Raiders. But before we get started, today's engagement question is, what was on your 2025 ASKA bingo card? Alright, let's get started. The first massive addition to the world of ASKA comes in the form of expeditions, in which you and your Leith can set sail across the ocean in your very own longship in search of adventure, treasure, or lunch. Expeditions offer players a much needed boost of endgame content, and I do go into them more in detail in this dedicated video, but in short, the size of the ocean map has been dramatically increased and an absolute smorgasbord of islands now await discovery somewhere over the horizon. In addition to smaller islands filled with familiar resources such as Jotun shards or iron, there are two new biomes that have been introduced as part of larger, more distant shores. The suffocatingly quiet and overgrown marsh biome is home to ancient ruins and forgotten treasures, but be careful as these mysteries are jealously guarded. And then there's the Red Desert Island, not to be confused with the Red Desert Island as narrator Bucky somehow managed to say the first time when reading his own script. And then there's the Red Desert Island. You idiot, you absolute muppet. The Red Desert Island is rich in mystery and danger, but will reward brave explorers with the newly added dragon fruit food and Jotun glass resource. More on Jotun glass in a second. Tread carefully upon the scorched red sand, however, as fierce dragon folk will not take kindly to your presence, and the wings of Nidhogg are said to bring ruin to all who hear them. Please note that you will need to start a new save in order for your map to generate any of the new content. But the good news is, moving forward, the devs had said future updates would not need new seeds thanks to some fancy new tech. Nerds. Honestly though, expeditions are amazing and I absolutely love sailing the open oceans in pursuit of riches and adventure, but what excites me the most is the potential for this system. I wasn't exaggerating. The ocean is bloody huge now, like oceans tend to be, you know. You can sail for bloody ages and find nothing but more ocean spitting in your face. So the devs can absolutely, probably, at a whim, drop in new islands filled with new resources in future updates in order to expand upon and deepen this expedition system. Also, for anyone wondering, as of the recording of this video, I have not yet found England, so I think my in-game ancestors are safe. For now. Slambacure, more affectionately known as the whale slug, is a new threat that lurks somewhere beneath the waves and will attack you if you sail too close to its territory. Remember to bring bows and a plentiful supply of arrows on all of your voyages, and no, bombs don't work.
No more despair. I have paid more than I owe.
Should you emerge victorious from any encounter, then the creature can be hauled back to your harbour for harvesting into more meat than you can possibly imagine, or simply left hanging on the perch as a trophy. I wonder if Slambacure is a nod to Sverfkavla, or the sword whale, a mythical creature from Icelandic folklore that would torment sailors and cut through their ships using its giant bladed dorsal fin. If you know more about this mythical animal, let me know in the comments, because my quick Google search has piqued my interest and I want to know more. Golems are a new type of villager that never needs to eat, sleep, rest, or seek shelter, meaning whatever job you give them, they will work 24 hours a day without complaining. This is definitely going to be amazing for giving your villagers near permanent runestone buffs or ensuring your bloomery never sits idle. But summon and use your golems wisely, as they only have a lifespan of 2 years, after which they will turn to rubble or something. I don't know, I'm not waiting 2 years to get a shot of this. Golems are summoned at the newly added Tier 4 Eye of Odin upgrade and require 150 Jotun glass, that resource I mentioned earlier, to summon. For more information on the Golem Villager, then check out this dedicated guide. Hey everyone, Editor Bucky here. So today the devs put out a hot fix, and one of the changes in it is that golems can now work on the farm. So despite me saying in the Golem guide that golems cannot actually be farmers, because at the time of recording that was true, the devs have done the thing again where they immediately invalidate something I say about the game like a day after I say it, or a week after I say it. So anyway, golems can be farmers now. If you go and watch that video and I say they can't, just know that they can. Every time. Every bloody time. And that's it for the big ticket items, but not at all for this update, as many fantastic quality of life changes have also been introduced. So now let's go over them, starting with two of my favorites. Driftwood can now be found in abundance across the shore and can be harvested for up to 4 sticks. This is going to help you in any new playthroughs, as well as help out in that early game stick shortage lull we all get to around about the time we're building cottages. Keep in mind that woodcutters will happily gather sticks as part of their job, so remember to throw down some marker flags on the beach and then make sure they're in the militia, so if they come across any wisps, they'll defend themselves. My second favorite change is that buildings or storages that you manually dismantle will no longer have their entire inventory disappear into the void. So as an example, here is a warehouse I built with 12 explosive sacks stored within. And if you know anything about this channel, you will know that explosive sacks are very important to me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to accidentally dismantle this storage, and as you can see, boom, we have ourselves that dismantle pile, and then inside of that dismantle pile, oh my goodness, what a relief, my explosive sacks are still intact. I am aware of what I just said. I stand by it. This change also ties in with another great change in which destroyed buildings no longer lose their entire inventory, and once rebuilt, some of what was stored there will remain intact. So let's see what happens to those 12 explosive sacks when I accidentally blow the warehouse up. Hey, 9 out of the 12 survived. That's not too bad, actually. Another thing that you may or may not have noticed when we did blow the warehouse up, the extensions were automatically rebuilt when we rebuilt the main section. This is going to make rebuilding anything with extensions a little less tedious after a fight gone wrong. Clicking on a villager issue in the settlement page will direct you to the impacted villager, making them far easier to track down and help. Or, you know, continue to ignore, whatever your approach is. The market interface and functionality has been improved, which is just typical timing for these devs because I'm literally wrapping up my 9 Realms series, which has a bazillion markets. So, you know, just another one for the shelf of updates made to a system after I've made a video on them. Also, they fixed market workers sometimes losing interest in their jobs and abandoning the cart after stopping to eat, which is just, again, another one that would have been really helpful in my 9 Realms playthrough. Patrol markers now get sorted based on whatever outpost they fall under, which will definitely help in setting up those defensive patrol tasks, because now you don't have to scroll through 500 of them. Coal makers will seek out firewood that is laying on the floor, helping to keep that pyre lit and production of coal ongoing. Longhouses can now become wide houses with brand new 2x2 and 3x3 layouts. I cannot wait to start seeing some screenshots of how people have decorated these. I don't know how to get the beds in, so I've gone for a nice little mead hall. The Smoker Horn of Gondor has had a slight rework. Right-clicking now rallies any nearby soldiers to fight with you, just as before. Left-click acts as a command to fall back, you know, to your position. This will definitely help keep your bloodthirsty warriors in check during invasion nights, because they did have that tendency to continue outwards and outwards and outwards, and eventually just end up at the portal. Some villager pathing issues have been fixed, most notably that dreaded bug when they would all get stuck outside of the longhouse and then freeze to death. Hope this one's true. And then a couple of UI changes. The HUD can be rescaled as well as certain elements hidden, which is pretty handy. You'll find these options in the menu. And the number of days remaining in any given season is now displayed over in the weather widget. Cheese has finally been buffed and will now feel more of your hunger bar. It's about bloody time. The devs have added Dragon Balls to the villagers' food items, which I don't really know what that means. It might mean that they can successfully harvest them from the Red Desert Island, or that it just gets stored properly. Either way, they have Dragon Balls now. And they did fix this nasty bug for anyone who played on extended or maximum days, where you couldn't actually fulfill the embarking requirement for water, I believe was the issue. That has been fixed, so now if you're playing on those extended or maximum days, you can finally set to the high seas. Go get 'em, Tiger. And while you sail those high seas, any islands you discover will now be marked on the map with their very own icon, so you don't have to pull a dark wolf and carve it into the dirt. And then finally some optimizations, mostly with trees and vegetation models, but also with shadows, and you know I do love to see those optimizations squeezed in wherever possible. And that is Update 8 Seaborne Raiders in a nutshell. Thank you so much for watching. Now I'm off to go start my new playthrough, and I hope to see you there. Cheerio.